Welcome, Rotarians and guests to the Rotary Club of York, where our mission is to improve life in the city of York by connecting our club's diverse community leaders through fellowship, action, and service. My name is Doug Berman. I am your president. Yes, we are starting 2 minutes early today. We have a very full agenda, a lot to get through. So I'm exercising executive privilege, as Aaron just said. So yes. But first, this date in history, I know everybody's wondering what happened. I'm going to start 1981. And by the way, I don't write the history, so the people that complained last week it was a little dark. That's just the way the world works. So, but no, this one's not so bad. So, 1981, IBM personal computer, the IBM 5150, was introduced, fundamentally changing the computing industry and popularizing home computers. Out of curiosity, I did look up the dimensions of that computer: 20 inches wide, 17 inches deep, 6 inches high, and around 28 pounds. So tuck that into your bags. Today, our opening song will be led by Mike Osterman, God Bless America. He'll also lead the Pledge of Allegiance, our invocation by past President Glenn Miller, and visitor introductions by President-elect nominee Cal Weary. Mike.
Sing with me. God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with the light from above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home. Pledge with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good afternoon, Rotarians. Since our president invoked executive privilege, I'd like a point of personal privilege. I asked for the privilege of delivering the invocation today because I knew that today was the last day that we will get to enjoy the company of our soon-to-be retired executive director, Lynn Morrison. I served on the search committee that brought Lynn to us. And I can tell you without hesitation that when I look back on my year as president of this club and my several years before and after my presidency in leadership roles, there is little that I am more proud of than having played a small part in bringing her to us. Following a multi-decade beloved leader in any organization is never an easy thing. And trying to lead this particular herd of cats, this amazing club that is filled with people who are all leaders themselves, who are the hardest people to lead, well, that is truly remarkable. So well done, good and faithful servant and friend. We are all the better for having had you among us. And with that, please prepare yourselves for prayer in the manner in which you are accustomed. Hear the words from Psalm 78. With an upright heart, the leader shepherded them and guided them with skillful hands. Gracious God, we are grateful for many things this day, but most especially for the gracious, skilled, wise, and faithful leadership of our friend Lynn. We're grateful for the many ways in which her leadership has transformed our organization and enabled us to be our best selves. As she moves on to a new chapter in her life in retirement, bless her with good health and long life and continued opportunities to use her gifts in the service of others. We are grateful for our speaker who is with us today and for his work in our community. We pray you bless our time together as friends and Rotarians. Let this time be joyful and fruitful, and in all things, use us as instruments of your love and care for this community. To you, the one God, of many names we pray. Amen.
This is my first time ever doing this. Okay, anyways. I am pleased to have the honor of introducing our guest for today's meeting. When I call your name, please stand and remain standing until President Doug has welcomed you. Our visiting Rotarians, Patricia Silvera and David Maynor from Bloomington, Indiana. Well, there you go. This is my first time doing this, so you're going to have to bear with me. I can't sing and I can't do it. First guest, Craig Chambers, and that is guest of Rotarian Jane Schusler. Jill McCracken. We're going to get through a couple of these. All right. Jill McCracken, Brinley McCracken, Sadie McCracken, Kylie Farrow, and Luca Farrow, all guests of Rotarian Tom McCracken.
Welcome to our visiting Rotarians. I won't say anything about Indiana like I did last week and started a civil war in North Dakota, but thrilled to have the visitors here today and thrilled to have Craig Charters with us today. I think Cal messed that one up a little bit. How we mispronounce Charters is beyond me, but and then the McCracken family, looking forward to honoring you all today. So Rotarians, please welcome our guests. Again, we have a full agenda, so we'll try to move through this fairly quickly. A few announcements. Our Youth Leadership Committee will meet today at 1:30 in the Mixed Grill. The Rotary Board of Directors will meet tomorrow on Zoom at 8 a.m. And the new member happy hour will take place tomorrow evening at 4 to 6 p.m. At the Yorktown Rooftop Lounge. So I believe you're still able to sign up for that event. Now we have another Love for Community announcement from our fundraising committee. Becky Vandergriff will make the announcement. Becky. Where's Jennifer? Yeah. Jennifer, you have one job. I mean,
Are we playing that through my presentation, I guess? Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. When they asked me to talk about the Love for Community event, I had several activities to choose from, but golf was the obvious winner. After all, no one has ever said, quick, play the theme song from competitive cornhole. Now, unlike Carl Spackler, I can assure you there will be no explosives used on the golf course that day, unless someone's tee shot lands in the parking lot. Our golf event will be held right here in the beautiful Country Club of York, where some of you will spend 4 hours proving that golf is, in fact, a game of inches. Whether you shoot a 72 or just tell everyone that you almost did, we'd love to have you join us. Golf is one of the few sports where you can hit a perfect shot, celebrate for 3 seconds, and spend the next 4 hours wondering what happened. Some of you will be chasing birdies, some of you will be chasing pars, and some of us will be chasing the beverage cart. We'll have a great day of golf, great food, great fellowship, and most importantly, we'll be raising money to support the Love of Community event and the work that Rotary does. The 2 projects that have been selected are our middle school enrichment project through the YMCA of the Roses and workforce development project for the York High School and ECHO. So mark your calendars, invite your friends, and come join us. After all, it's much more fun to yell for when you are doing it for good cause. Oh, and if you see any critters out there, please remember that that is someone else's committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky, and thank you to the fundraising committee for all the work they are doing. Again, we're a little behind in terms of sponsorships in comparison to previous years. There's still time to sign up, so if you haven't, please make sure you do so. Now, we started a few minutes early, partly because of past President Glenn Miller doing the invocation, needed a little extra time, and now past President and District Governor-elect Aaron Jacobs is going to come forward and help us to recognize our retiring Executive Director, Lynn Morrison. So, Aaron.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you, President Doug. Rotarians, as has been mentioned already, today is our Executive Director, Lynn Morrison's last meeting with the Rotary Club of York. I'm especially pleased to be able to share a couple remarks about the occasion because Lynn and I have a very unique and special relationship. And by that, I mean that 5 or 6 years ago, when it was announced that I was in line to be president, it was a matter of a few weeks later that Lynn was hired into the employ to be the executive director of our club. And it's particularly interesting on the timing of that because that was a challenge that she took on during the most difficult times for our Rotary Club. If you remember 5 or 6 years ago, there were some challenges and there were some destructive forces working its way through our membership. Of course, I'm talking about COVID-19 and the presidency of our tyrannical Josh George. Doug begged me to make that joke, just so you know. But speaking of timing, it's really interesting because I think because of Lynn's leadership and her wisdom and her strategic thinking, along with the leadership of the club, we recovered much faster and came back a lot stronger because of our executive director. And no one was surprised when she decided that she was going to announce her retirement, as no one, I think, expected you to survive a year of Doug being president. Josh, I told you that joke wouldn't work as well. See? I know. But my point being on this, in the context of all of this, is that I would think in the span of Lynn's career, 5 or 6 years is really more of a footnote in her journey of life. And when I think about the history of this club, 5 or 6 years is certainly just a small footnote in all of our time together. But isn't it interesting? Isn't it divine providence that Lynn was delivered to us when we needed her the most? Which makes me believe that you were the right person, you were the right woman for the right moment in this club. And for that, I think we're all thankful. Then I would say from the bottom of my heart that I hope when you reflect back on your years with the club, that you feel we had the same impact on your life that you've had on our lives and on our club. Personally, I'd like to say thank you for our years of friendship and working together. I know you know what I mean. When I asked Lynn what her legacy, she wanted her legacy to be to the club, she said she wanted it to be service, and that makes sense. And when I said what you miss the most, of course, she said the people. And so with that, Lynn, thank you for all you've done. And on behalf of the Rotary Club of York, its leadership and its membership, thank you for your service. Now, for some reason, President Doug was not comfortable with me sharing actual remarks about Lynn and her character. I'm not sure what he was hung up on about that. But nonetheless, past President Courtney has put together a really nice video homage to honor the occasion. And if you would, Ben, roll clip. Passionate.
Tenacious. Invaluable.
In the words of Larry, the cable guy, get her done.
Intense. Lynn is intense.
Empowering.
Thoughtful. Helped create structure.
This is so hard because there's not just one thing, but if I had to pick, Lynn, you have made our club realize that we are not just a bunch of committees working towards our individual goals. We are one Rotary Club working towards a strategic goal together, and you are the one that helped us break down those silos.
The way that she really empowered our committee chairs to really own their committees. So many times when you're not really owning those committees and you're a volunteer, you kind of lose that really investment, and Lynn really made sure that all our committee chairs were fully invested in their work, and I think it made our club so much better.
One thing Lynn Morrison did to make our club better is to help us think more strategically and get focused on the big picture.
Lynn made Rotary so much better. She made everyone feel like they had a seat at the table.
I would say Lynn is all about structure and transparency and no surprises.
One of the many things that Lynn did to make our club better was to hold our feet to the fire when it came to the strategic plan.
Everyone who comes to Rotary feels welcome because of Lynn. She works very hard to make us all feel very welcome.
One of my favorite projects to work on with Lynn was our Rotary grants. We really did hone them so that they were very impactful in York City's success and the York City environment. We had our disagreements, but we always came out with the best outcomes.
Is when she didn't retire during my presidency. But seriously, 5 years is a long time. There's a lot of memories there, from being part of the search committee that hired her to working alongside of her last year as president. Lynn, I have appreciated every small conversation, the big ones, the important ones, the not so fun ones, all the text messages, emails. Appreciate it. Wishing you all the best in retirement.
Whenever I call her, she answers with a first or second ring, and that lets me know how important I am to her. She's always attentive, loving, and warm.
That we enjoy each other's company. So not only did we have high priorities for bringing our club into the future and for continuously working toward improvement of our club and making it even greater than it already was.
So Lynn would often ask me to do guest intros, and one of the second or third times she said, don't make any jokes or anything, just get up there quick. Which she knew I wouldn't listen to. And the last time I did the introductions was for Wilda's last day. And when I sat down, Lynn looked at me and says, I love you. I'm going to miss working with you. And that meant a lot to me.
Watching President Doug struggle to ring the bell.
Hearing from someone that they didn't like the chicken piccata that was served today, and they would much rather have grilled chicken next week.
Probably taking attendance, having to keep track of who's on vacation and who's just chilling in a sauna in Costco.
I think the one thing that Lynn will not miss about Rotary are the off-site meetings.
Having to clean the chickens for our executive rituals. No one likes to do that.
Well, in particular, I know she will not miss me always asking, what do you think about us moving back to the Yorktown Hotel?
Lynn, I speak for our entire club when I say the Rotary Club of York, 24th largest club in the world out of 40,000 clubs, was forever grateful to have you as our executive director. We all love you and miss you already. Bye, Lynn. It was my heart.
Rotarians, for the last time, help me welcome our Executive Director, Lynn Morrison, to the stage for some final remarks.
Wait. I'm a little speechless, first time for everything. So I was thinking about this, people keep asking me to reflect on like my experience here. And I was thinking about how I got here. You know, I came to Rotary during COVID because my job was eliminated about 6 months into COVID, even though we were still doing a great job at home, but I won't go on about that. I was looking for a new opportunity, and I saw a job ad for the Rotary Club of York. I have to tell you, I did not have Rotary on my bingo card at all. But as I researched a little bit into the organization and what they were looking for, I thought it kind of matched what I had been doing, and I thought I might be a good fit for this position. I think I was right. During my career, I worked in Adams County, Franklin County, Lancaster County. So it seemed a little inevitable that I was going to end up at York County. That's completing my role on the Lincoln Highway. I'm so grateful to have had the opportunity to work with all of you and for this great club. I call it the Rotary Club of York. Sorry, Penn State, I stole that. I've been here for about 5.5 years, and in that time, it's really an amazing organization. Its resilience is pretty surprising for such a small town and such a big club. We would go to the large club conference and tell people we were this big club in York, PA, and they went, York, PA? And that just speaks to York and everything York is all about and all you people are about. I think Aaron said it for me, but when I'm asked, what do I like most about this job? I always say the people, each individual person. I love there are people who've been in this club for decades and some half of the century, some of you, and some people are brand new. And it's always interesting to meet all of those people who are joining us. I've also learned to love York. You know, I live in Lancaster, but I love York. I'm kind of bi-coastal now on that Susquehanna River. So, I appreciated that some of the presidents said nice things about me, the past presidents in that video. It was wonderful. I have a special relationship with all of the presidents that I work for since I've been here in the Rotary Club of York side and also the York Rotary Foundation side. That we work together to do a lot of the things that make our club where we are today. And I call all of them are my friends, and I'm proud of that. I would like to thank Brian Tate. Brian is a true strategic community builder. Ann Druck, always thoughtful and warm and welcoming. Jackie Summers, optimistic and a seasoned leader. I learned a lot from her. Glenn Miller, I call him Ambassador Rev for a good reason. Mac Brillhart, always a steady hand. Aaron Jacobs, a cowboy with a true passion and a vision to make Rotary better. Amy Anstein, a wise and determined planner. Courtney Piccolo, dynamo, who talks faster than I do, hard to believe. Wilda Ream, calm and strong force for impact. And Doug Berman, where are you, Doug? A wry wit and a very ambitious competitor. I'm so excited to see what the future is going to look like for the club and to keep up with what's going on here. You have new members joining all the time. That's what makes our club grow and be better over time. And all of you welcoming those new ideas. I'm so excited to see the large service club projects that we've just unveiled and where they go and what we can do with what we're doing with those projects to make a big impact on the community and involve our Rotarians along the way. I think that's going to help the club grow and get even bigger as we become more involved in those things. I'm really going to miss the chance to work with Doug through his presidency. Really, Doug, I am. I'm also going to miss Kelly as her coming up and Cal and whoever comes after them. I think they're going to all together lead this club to a very bright future. A lot of people have asked me why I decided to retire now. My husband, Jeff, retired from York College at the end of June. And we wanted to retire at the same time. It's not because I wanted to get away from anything that I didn't like about this job. I love this job. It's a great job to retire from. But frankly, people, it was time. You know, I've been around a long time, about 50 years working in various capacities, and it is time. I'm very, very glad to end my career here in York. I'm a little bit sad to go. People were saying, how do you feel today? I feel really good about retiring, but a little sad to leave you guys. I'm not going to miss the 8 a.m. Zoom meetings at all, but I am going to miss seeing you all every week. I might come back and visit occasionally. Many of you have invited me to come as your guest at some point. I'm going to take everybody up on that. I will cherish the friendships that I've made here and the impact that we have achieved together and all the fun and the laughter. You know, it was interesting when Glenn brought up that he was on the interview panel. I don't know if you're going to remember this, but at my interviewing for this position, I was asked what I saw for myself in the future. And I said this: giving back to my community, that's 5 words, right? And ongoing exciting adventures with my man, my husband. That future is now, people. I'm good to go. Thank you all for all your help and support.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we do have a few gifts to present to Lynn. I do want to thank. I do want to thank Courtney for putting together the video. I did boycott the video since Lynn chose to retire during my term. No, actually, I'm just not that creative, so I declined it. But Lynn, I couldn't even bring up all the gifts. So there's some additional flowers on the table. need for you?
Like,
Yeah.
right?
So besides the flowers, we're presenting Lynn with this. Here, you should open.
Okay. This way I don't put
Yeah.
it in charge of everything. Oh, it's beautiful. It says happy retirement.
Yes, Mike.
Happy retirement presented to Lynn Morrison. Thank you for your service above self. Oh, I got a service above self award. Rotary Club of York and York Rotary Foundation, August 2026. Thank you.
Not done.
Not done.
In addition, we have 2 gift cards for Lynn. I believe one is to the First Post, which I understand is one of your favorite restaurants in New York, and the other to the Yorktown Hotel. So take that. And then throughout Lynn's comments, she specifically mentioned we quite a bit. So again, I love that she's still identifies as part of the club. So the board did take the formal action of, we would like to bestow upon you an honorary membership in the Rotary Club of York. So you don't need to wait for an invitation from one of us to attend. You can just come. You have to pay though, but.
Thank you.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right.
You good?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, now moving on. Back on schedule. We do have some Paul Harris Awards and Guardian presentation. I'd like to ask Bill Hartman, a member of our Global Rotary Foundation Committee, to come forward and make that presentation.
Good afternoon, everyone. Next, we're going to shift the Rotary spotlight to another true outstanding Rotarian, Tom McCracken. Tom truly believes in Rotary International. He truly believes in the Rotary Club of York, and he's invested both his time and his money accordingly. Tom is a major donor and did a terrific job during his stint as chair of the Global Rotary Foundation. The other thing that impresses me about Tom is that he does the best job, I think, of anyone in our club of using his recognition points. And he's going to do that today with the presentation of 8 Paul Harris Fellowships. And I will do my best to emulate Cal's pronunciations. Luca Farrow is the first Paul Harris Fellow to be recognized today. Next is Kylie Farrow. Tanner Farrow. This will be accepted by Luca and Kylie. Brinley McCracken. Sadie McCracken. Renee Keeney McCracken. Renee, I didn't emulate Cal. Paxton Vermillion. This is being accepted by Brinley and Sadie, and Parker Vermillion is also going to be accepted by Brinley and Sadie. So let's have a nice round of applause for these new Paul Harris Fellows. Next, Amy Anstein will introduce Tom.
All right. So next, I'm very proud to recognize Tom McCracken as a Guardian +1. What is a Guardian? A Guardian is a Rotary member who has contributed $1,000 or more to the York Rotary Foundation's unrestricted funds. These contributions help grow the York Rotary Foundation endowment, creating stable, sustaining funds for the programs, innovations, and opportunities that move our community forward. These gifts will support many of the club's important charitable efforts like sending students to RILA, awarding grants to organizations serving the city of York, and our new large projects to support local youth and supporting outstanding outreach, and also the work of our club committees. To learn more about the Guardian program, please see me or any York Rotary Foundation member or Terry. Now, please join me in congratulating Tom as an outstanding member of the Rotary Club of York and a Guardian +2.
Thank you, Amy. We had our first meeting and Amy said she was going to present my nameplate and asked me if I'd say a few things. 15 and a half years ago, I made a decision to join the Rotary Club of York. At that time, I became aware of Rotary's fight against polio. You see, my mother was a polio survivor. In 1952, she was one of the few York County natives to survive polio. My mother was a fighter, and up until her death last year at the age of 99, she continued to deal with what was known as post-polio syndrome. We were fortunate that this disease has been eradicated in the United States. Today, polio remains endemic only in Afghanistan and Pakistan. It's crucial to continuing working to keep other countries polio-free. If all eradication efforts stop today, within 10 years, polio could paralyze as many as 200,000 children. I continue to donate to the Rotary Foundation, not only for their fight against polio, but for the many other worthwhile causes the Rotary Foundation takes on. Your contributions to the Rotary Foundation helps members to advance world understanding, goodwill, and peace by improving health, providing quality education, improving the environment, and alleviating poverty. Part of the contributions you make to Rotary each year come back to the club through the global and district grants. Most recently, our bottle toilet house project in Sandafa, Ethiopia was well received and was very far advanced for the area. We also received district grants partially funded by Rotary International to help with the Kiwanis Lake project and the Market Street trees. So I'm pleased to support the York Rotary Foundation Guardian Circle. The Guardian Circle is a gathering of dedicated Rotarians who understand that truth's strength comes from protecting what we've built and nurturing what's yet to grow. As Amy already mentioned, a lot of these are on the flyers on your table. So I encourage you to look at them and understand why we want to give to the Guardian Circle. I guess what I would just ask all of you is, why did you become a Rotarian? Keep that in the back of your mind as you consider giving to both organizations. Thank you.
Well done. Thank you, Tom, and congratulations. Thank you for your commitment to the Rotary Foundation and now our York Rotary Foundation as well. Your years of leadership of our foundation committee and the example you're setting not only for all of us, but also for your family today. So congratulations, Tom. Now I would like to invite Sterling Dunlap to come forward and introduce today's program.
Thank you, President Berman. Thank you for your superb leadership and auditing of today's snack. Today's meal was delicious. My name is Sterling Dunlap. I'm the Director of Membership and Business Development with the York County Economic Alliance. If your business is not a member of the Economic Alliance, we should talk. And speaking of YCA members, it is my pleasure to introduce Chad Adams, the Operations Manager for Reedco Kuramoto. Reedco Kuramoto manufactures continuous process mixers and works with some of the world's largest companies to solve complicated mixing needs. Chad is in his 14th year with Reedco Kuramoto and served in engineering, field service, and operations leadership. The company has a long history in York County, getting their beginning in Glen Rock in 1906. 120 years later, and they are now located on North State Street in York. If you're anything like me, you may not have ever heard of this company, yet their equipment is used to manufacture items for use in your everyday life. They work with companies in the food, pharmaceutical, chemical, and many more industries. Their continued success has been driven by their engineering excellence, accountability, persistent improvement, collaboration, and quality for their customers. Chad, as operations manager, is helping to lead the company into the next chapter while keeping with the tradition and legacy the company has built here in York. By the way, Reedco Kuramoto is the YCA's Member of the Month, so keep an eye out for that social media post coming. And now, Rotarians, we've been working on the clapping. I hope there are some Spinal Tap fans out there when I say, let's turn it up to 11 for Chad Adams.
Thank you, Sterling. Good afternoon, everybody. Appreciate you taking some time out of your day to allow me to talk to you about Reedco Kuramoto. Where I'd like to start today is a question we ask most people is, have you heard of Reedco before today? Just a show of hands if you have. That's pretty impressive, actually. Usually we get, no one knew we were here, even though we've been in York for 120 years. And that is because many of our customers keep us as their best kept secrets. We are their what gives them their competitive advantage in their market. So they want us to keep that a little quiet for them. So anyway, moving on, I'd like to kind of run through our history and how we got to where we are today, evolving from a small local machine shop into a global provider of continuous process systems. So today we are, as I mentioned, a provider of continuous process systems throughout the world. We are owned by the Kuramoto Limited Group out of Osaka, Japan. We've been with them since 2006. We serve many different industries. Sterling mentioned a couple of them. Food, chemical, pharmaceutical, I could go on and on and on. It's in nearly everything that you touch and deal with on a daily basis. Our core equipment includes mixing, reacting, blending, and drying equipment, primarily in continuous. That's our business. As Sterling mentioned, we've been around since 1906. We just recently celebrated our 120th anniversary as a company in April. Thank you. So our flagship piece of equipment is the continuous processor. That was developed in 1961. It is still one of our leading pieces of equipment right now. It's what gives all of our customers their advantage. And our recent location, we have actually increased our size into a 47,000 square foot facility right here in York. So I want to go through the history here to start, kind of give you a little bit of an understanding of how we got to where we are today by starting at where we started. So initially in 1906, founded as the Reed Machinery Company. We were focused on bakery equipment and soon turned into one of the world's largest providers of bakery equipment. That was ovens, proofers, mixers, anything around making bread and bakery items. In 1938 to 41, during World War II, we were actually making munitions for the U.S. government, and we started to make some mobile ovens, mobile mixers for the Army encampments to use to provide food for their soldiers while they were out. In 1950, we shifted into more of the industrial mixing. We got into Sigma mixers, ribbon mixers, and different ancillary equipment that serves those pieces of equipment. One of the pivotal moments in our history was 1957 when we acquired some of the screw conveyor assets from the Standard Stoker Company. That was the inspiration for the continuous processor that was developed in 1961. In 1968, we were purchased by Teledyne, becoming Teledyne Reedco. They worked to focus all of their subsidiary organizations into where their strengths were. So ours was the strength in mixing and continuous mixing. We shed a lot of our other process lines and stuck to primarily that. In 1990, they wanted to expand that into some powder blending. We bought a powder blending line from Lightman Mixers that we turned into our current offering of a containerized batch mixer. And then in 1996, Teledyne sold us to the Pennsylvania Growth Fund, and we became Reedco Manufacturing. So that gets us through quite a bit of history very quick. Slow down a little bit here to kind of get through what my recent history has been since I've been with the company. But as Reed Manufacturing, Reedco Manufacturing, we moved to Emmonsville in 2003 into a facility. In 2006, Kuramoto Limited purchased Reedco, and we became Reedco Kuramoto. Prior to this, for about 30 years, they were one of our licensees in the Asian market, licensing our continuous processing technologies. So it was a great partnership. They knew us, knew our technology, and we've worked together fantastically ever since. Some things that we've achieved since then, we've achieved a USDA 3A certification on some of our continuous processor designs, so we can get into dairy applications. We can modify that slightly to get into pharmaceuticals. Having that enclosed sanitary design helped a lot when there were issues with people getting sick from open mixing of peanut butter and things like that, bugs and bird droppings getting into these open vats. Ours is all enclosed and very sanitary. So it helped us to continue to gain a competitive advantage. In 2012, we started to bring some equipment from Kuramoto's product line into the US market. 2012 was the self-contained processor. I'll get into that a little bit later, but that's a continuous dryer evaporator. And then in 2019, we added the continuous hybrid reactor, which is a continuous reactor. It's a clever name. I'll get into that a little bit later. And then in 2022, we started a bit of a rebranding of ourselves. We developed a new logo, the logo that you see today. We launched a new website, and we were well into our move into our new location. So that brings us to where we are today. We are still the custom engineered continuous processing solutions expert, and we bring our manufacturing customers consistency, throughput, and control of their process. So we have 4 different product lines. We talked about all of them in brief here. Our mixing is our continuous processor that's putting dry and liquids together, creating one homogeneous outcome or output. We also have our reacting line that is doing reacting continuously while controlling the heat or cooling input, also operating under vacuum. We can control our residence time very precisely in that as well, depending on what your needs are. We have our drying, which is our self-contained processor that's managing what we say is difficult phase transitions. We'll get into that a little bit more here later. And then our powder blending is the containerized batch mixer that was purchased from Lightning Mixers and ultimately turned into the containerized batch mixer. So to get into a little bit more detail, right here we have an example of one of our continuous processors that we just call the CP for short. It's a high shear mixer. We like high viscosity materials. It likes to put work into materials to disperse ingredients homogenously in a very short period of time. So the general concept here is when you're making a batch of cookies, you put all your ingredients into your mixer and you mix and mix and mix, and eventually you have a homogeneous output. What we do is we take all of those percentage ingredients, the formulation, and we continuously add them into the machine while processing, and you're continuously getting a stream of finished product. So there's a lot of advantages from batch in that you don't have to worry about variation. Operators kind of influence what's coming out. If you have a hiccup, you're losing a little bit of material, not this large batch of material that costs a lot of money. There's a very low labor cost to this. It lends itself to automation very well. So it's been well received and still kicking to this day, very much as it was designed back in 1961. So here I have an example of a 10-inch size unit. You can see some of the internal mixing elements there. Just to give you an idea of what this looks like, some of our customers don't actually see these things open because they don't open them very often because they're very robust engineered pieces of equipment. Moving into our continuous hybrid reactor, as I mentioned, this is one that we can continuously react while controlling our heating or cooling temperature. We also can run under vacuum, and we can purge to eliminate oxygen from that environment. So if you have things that are sensitive to oxygen that may degrade or discolor in oxygen, we can work around that. Again, I mentioned we can control those residence times very precisely. So if you need more or less time, we can tailor that in this piece of equipment. I've got a photo here of our lab unit, and you can see the internal mixing elements is quite a little artistic picture. It's a little mesmerizing to see it run. So that's our piece of equipment we brought into the United States in 2019. Our self-contained processor is the drying and evaporating in one continuous step. Again, this runs continuously under vacuum. We could do heating, cooling, but what this does is it deals with those difficult phase transitions. If we're going from, excuse me, a very thin slurry where we need to make a viscous output, sometimes that can be challenging for traditional evaporating units where they might stall out or not have the horsepower. We can also go from that slurry to a dry powder and to some extent classify those powders into very small pieces and get to parts per million dryness. So it's a very impressive piece of equipment, again, that we brought from Kuramoto into the US market. And our final line here, the containerized batch mixer, is what we purchased from Lightning. This one's a bit of a niche unit. It lends itself to pharmaceuticals and cosmetics. You can load in individual vessels, so there's no cross-contamination. You can see a 2040 size unit with a large size vessel on it. And on the right side picture, it shows kind of the tumble sequence. So in there is a spinning impeller, and the unit is also tumbling simultaneously. So you're pushing those powders across that impeller. And why this is good with those industries is it can take very, very small percent ingredients and dispense it throughout a large volume of filler. So some of the industries that we serve and some of the standards that we have achieved, again, we have the food, confectionery, chemical, pharmaceutical, nutrition, nutraceuticals, adhesive sealants. We even get into radioactive waste remediation. If you go to our website, the laundry list is immense. It's most anything you could imagine that needs to be mixed together can be done in our equipment. Some of those standards and credentials that we have achieved, we mentioned our USDA 3A dairy certified design. We can also do FDA and USDA materials and compliance. We have manufactured to CE certified as well, whether that is declaration of conformity or incorporation. We have achieved both of those. And all of our vessels are designed to ASME pressure vessel standards and certified by third parties. So we're very, very conscientious of the safety with that equipment. And everything is engineered, designed, manufactured in the United States. We keep everything domestic. We even try to do as much as we can in York. We have a lot of good vendor partners that we work with in York, as well as throughout the United States. That's something that's very important to us, is to stay domestic and stay as local as possible, which is why I'm happy to be able to talk to everyone here from the local community. So in 2023, we formally moved into a new building on State Street here in York, not too far from where we were in Emmetsville. It was the culmination of a multi-year project. Unfortunately, it got some hiccups from COVID. I'm sure we're all familiar with that. It was not a fun time to be trying to build anything in the US because everyone was building warehouses at the same time. So fortunately, we could pivot to an existing shell of a building and work on a fit out. So we formally finished moving in February 2023. We had a ribbon cutting in May. I've got a picture from that with Doug Dodson, our president, who was originally going to be here, but is on vacation right now. So he sent me in his place. And our chairman at that point, Hajime Agata. So our new facility I mentioned is 47,000 square feet. That's about 1.5 times where we were before in Emmetsville. We spent about 20 years in Emmetsville, so we built this building to last us at least another 20 years. We have no intention of going anywhere else. We love the central location of York, close to Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, New York. It's perfect. You can't really beat it when people fly in. It's so convenient to hit a couple different airports or just to drive in. So we really do love the location here in York. So in our new facility, we have some things that we built that were part of our wish list. The top one of those is our laboratories, our process development laboratories. That is where we prove out every single application that we bring in. We do not sell equipment that we cannot stand behind. And so to do that, we have lab scale equipment. Our lab staff set up an entire entire pilot plant. And they do that for a 3-day test. Our customers bring in their materials, their experts. We run it, they evaluate it. Once everything is good, the engineering team can then scale that up to commercial equipment. And part of the value of having everyone in that same location now is engineers can participate in the lab tests. They can understand how the materials behave, how they behave with our equipment, what things need to be addressed specifically to deal with any nuances or challenges with that process. So everyone's involved in the development process, and that helps us to be 100% hitting our marks when we go to commercial scale-ups. We also added a large space for education, similar size as this, maybe a little bit smaller, but it's been a place where we can bring our company together when we do our holiday celebrations. We like to keep that family feel where we get together for luncheons and things to celebrate anniversaries or celebrate members having families or having children. But we also like to do local outreach. When we did our ribbon cutting, we welcomed people to join us in our training facility. Our 120th anniversary was celebrated in there as well. We also bring in our outside manufacturers representatives for biannual trainings. We bring everyone into our room and our space. We show them what's going on with us, what's new. We can take them out through the shop, show them what we're actually doing instead of just telling them and showing pictures. And also we brought all of our teams together in the same space. Even though we were in the same physical building in our past building, we were in smaller buildings within the building, so the collaboration wasn't quite there. And now we're all in that same central space. So you can collaborate and talk from department to department very quickly, or even be out on the manufacturing floor within a moment's notice. So the road ahead, we've got some plans for growth here. I talked about having more space. We need to fill that space with demand for production. So right now we're actually working on a strategic development plan. And a couple of the items that we're working on is continuing to foster the relationship with our parent company, Kuramoto, in Japan. Also want to develop and widen our product offerings and continue to grow and develop subsequent 3-year plans and strategic plans. So for our closer collaboration with Kuramoto, in recent times, we have been able to tear down some of the walls and be able to have direct communication. And part of that was having a chairman that spends their time full-time with us in York. So we have had a full-time member from Osaka we're in our 6th year now where we've had someone here full-time. And since we moved into our building on State Street, we've actually brought in someone from their US entity, and he is with us full-time as well. So we can work with them to understand if the challenges we're dealing with are challenges that their groups have dealt with. Maybe we can collaborate and we're not both recreating the wheels separately. We can work together to improve, to also share technologies and developments within our industries. The wider product line that we're working toward right now is to develop ourselves into a turnkey system provider. This is something that our customers have asked us several times. They want to issue one purchase order, someone just to control everything. And we've been able to facilitate that with some partnerships. However, start to lose control when you're not the one driving the boat. So we want to start to develop some internal resources, as well as bring in some new outside resources from the community to help us to engineer these systems, to develop new departments, electrical departments, controls departments, things like this. So a lot of exciting growth potential within that. One thing that we did recently launch was the RK Safety Hinge. This was something that we did bring over from Osaka. It is something new for us because it's not this highly engineered custom product. It is a catalog offering based on a couple inputs. We know what size you need, but essentially it's a spring-assisted lift for a vessel lid. If you have a lid that's 300 pounds and you're supposed to manually open this, we can put a device on there that you can open this just with one hand. It's spring assist, and you can set it back down very easily. It eliminates strain, pinch points, things like that. So we just recently launched that one, and we've been marketing in the safety shows and trade shows, and we've had a lot of good success. We actually just received an order for 13 with our first customer, which is actually a municipality in Arizona. They have big well heads that are capturing methane gas on their landfills. Thank you. Just losing it here. And so these covers are 250 pounds, and someone was supposed to manually go open this daily to take samples. So we did one demonstrative unit install a couple months ago, and we just secured 13 more units for them. So it's got a lot of promise for us, and we really enjoy the fact that it's safety conscious because a lot of our design is safety conscious. Talked about having more space. So we have the capacity now to meet demand. So we want to continue to drive higher demand and be able to build capacity within our facility. We've got the 47,000 square feet now, but our building is 67,000 square feet in total. So we've got an auxiliary 20,000 that right now we're trying to lease out, but eventually we hope to occupy that due to necessity. And then also we are working on our continued 3-year strategic development plan. It's something that as a leadership team we're new to, but that's what we need to do to continue to grow. There we go. So I'd like to just end here on our mission, to highlight a couple things here. We want to build on our history of product excellence and technology to provide superior products that help our customers gain a competitive advantage. That right there is kind of the key as to why so many people don't know about us after 120 years in business. Our customers don't want their competitors to know that they work with us because they don't want their competitors to come and work with us. So try as we may, we can almost never secure testimonials or permission to utilize customer names. We're signing NDAs for every single application. So that is why you don't hear a whole lot about us, but we do have some very tenacious sales engineers that are looking to market into new industries. And recently we've been targeting the battery industry. So what we've had to do is essentially develop things on our own and make them on our own to go to shows to show that we can do it, because we can't stop and say we do it for XYZ company because they don't want us to tell you about that. So we hope to continue to develop some more applications to be able to show people what we do and actually give you something of substance instead of just showing you equipment and telling you a good story. But with that, I'd like to open it up if anybody has any questions for me about Reedco, the history, myself. Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. The first thing that came to mind is, do you do anything with breweries or distilleries?
We haven't to this date. Well, we did an application at one point trying to dry some leftovers from a brewery, but we do not. If someone has a brewery application that wants to come in, I would love to see it.
This is fascinating. There were several words I did not know. What kinds of jobs do people do in your organization besides sales that you just mentioned?
Great question. So of course we have the supporting business structures of accounting, controller, human resources. We have a sales department. We also have an engineering team. They do all the designing for all of our equipment. Right now we are expanding. Next week we will begin working with our first electrical engineer. So we're starting to branch into the electrical realm within that group. We also have the assembly team. That's who puts all the equipment together on the floor. They're under the production area. Within that, we have inspection, we have shipping, receiving, we have a full-time machinist in there. We also have our process development lab, which is where our gentlemen build the pilot plants to prove out all these processes. So there's a lot of offerings in there. So primarily engineering is the main one, but we do have skilled trades with the assembly. And we call it assembly, but it's not like an assembly line assembly. It's more of a skilled craftsman. I mean, they are precise and precision fitting components that have very, very low tolerance clearances. So it's a challenging job. Thank you. That's a good question. Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. Yes, we do know you. Actually, we work with you sometimes on certain equipment.
Oh, great.
But my question, the rotors that you showed, you're in the food industry and the pharmaceuticals. Are you using food grade 300 series stainless in some of those rotors or 17.4? Are there particular grades of steel that you have to use for certain purposes?
Yes, sir. I love it. Great question. So yes, please. That was awesome. So yeah, we start everything as a base out of 300 series stainless. That is what we call the wetted parts. So in the mixing chamber, the rotors and elements that are turning. But surprised you mentioned 17.4. We have done applications with that. Primarily we use it for shafting, but we've used it in a hardened state for some more abrasive materials. Those are some of the standards. However, we've gotten into duplex stainless steels. We've gotten to Inconels. We've gotten into tool steels. We've done just plain carbon steels. We've done a lot of different things. We're always interested to develop new ones as well. I know at one point for a dairy manufacturer, we had to find a grade of stainless steel to deal with their corrosive cleaner, and we wound up at AL6XN, if anyone's ever heard of that. It's a wild one. But we actually had to work with the ASME board to develop the code standards for that material because it did not exist in code yet. So we're always willing to try new things, but yeah, we're across a lot of different materials. Another great question. Thank you.
Hi, real quick question. Jim, did you use a 14.26? Okay. No, actually, now I forget my question.
It was worth it.
Now, what's the size? Like the thing you showed up there? Is
Sure.
it gigantic? Are they little?
So they ranged. Another great question. Our product sizes for our continuous processor I will speak to, they are sized by the diameter of the elements that are rotating. So we manufacture them from a 1-inch size. That is a lab unit. You could almost sit the base on this podium. And we make them as large as 24 inches. And that 24-inch, just the half of it that has the barrel and the mixing in it is about 60,000 pounds. So they range from, you can set it to, don't even think about touching anything on it without a crane. We're all over the board. It's, yeah.
To what extent do you fabricate your own parts versus work through a larger supply chain of companies here locally or elsewhere?
So I would say we primarily work through a supply chain. Our full-time machinist, his primary objective with us is to support the assembly tasks and help us with precision fitting. But there are some parts that we regularly manufacture for some of the smaller equipment. Primarily are what we call the paddles, are the rotors that are spinning in there. We manufacture those pretty regularly, as well as some of the sleeves and components within our transmissions. But I would say the lion's share is through a broad vendor network. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Chad, for being with us today and for sharing just a little bit of information on the long history of your company. It does strike me in over 120-year history. Have you ever had a member of this Rotary Club? That seems like it might be a good way to get the name out there a little bit more. So I did learn a lot today from Chad and certainly from Jim Anderson's questions. Not the least of which is I misspelled or mispronounced the name of the company last week, so I apologize for that. As you all know, our speaker has signed a book to be donated to the Warner Early Learning Center, along with a bookmark made by the students at Creative York. The octopus is back. I was misled. My octopus arms will be the book being donated. I thought we were done with that, but apparently not. Next week, we'll hear from our own returning outbound youth exchange student, Scarlett Barshinger, to learn more about her year spent in Japan. Scarlett will share about her time living with 4 different host families, attending a Japanese high school, and the importance of how Rotary Youth Exchange increases global ties and raises cultural awareness. Our final thought today comes from Ralph Waldo Emerson. The only person you are destined to become is a person you decide to be. With that, we're adjourned.